Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain,
I'm Lynn.
and today we're going to be reviewing and showing you how to play Pan Am. So I want to start by giving a big thank you to the people over at Funko Games for sending us this copy of Pan Am to be able to play and review and film some content with like this. So big thank you to Funko Games. Pan Am was designed by their design team over at Prospero Hall. Before we get too into this, though, I do want to say I've got a ton of links in the description down below that you can check out at your leisure. There's a link to BoardGameCaptain.com, which is a great hub for all things Board Game Captain. There's also a link to my Teespring store. You can get yourself some cool Board Game Captain merch, t-shirts, mugs, etc. And there is a link to my Patreon if you're in a position to and would like to support the channel. All right, so Pan Am. Lynn, what are the stats? What do we got here?
We have ages 12 plus, 2 to 4 players, 60 minutes.
All right, so let's start there. Let's start with the 12 plus. What are your thoughts on the 12 and up?
I think it could be like 10 and up.
I was going to say, actually, I thought this was pretty dead on. It's not a super advanced game. I would put this squarely as a middleweight. It's a worker placement route building game. And there's a fair amount going on, but I wouldn't say it's so heavy that you need to make it like 13 or 14. But I thought 12's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you think it could go a little lower, though?
I think 12 is probably good, but I think 10-year-olds aren't going to be playing this like by themselves. Like a 10-year-old with parents, I think, could play.
Okay, fair enough. And then, let's see, we've got the 2 to 4 players. Now, I want to talk about this because we have played this at 2 and at 4. And I think it plays really well at all player counts.
Yeah, it plays well at all player counts.
It's got a really good scaling mechanism where you get less engineers the more players you have, so that it doesn't go significantly longer for a larger number of players, and also you don't change the rules at all for 2 players. The one thing that I have noticed that changes is there's more outbidding each other the more players you have, especially with the airport. Well, you'll see that during the tutorial. We are going to do a little outbidding each other in the tutorial, which we've already filmed before this. But it happens even more often generally in 4 players because everybody's trying to get an airport, and the thing is, on the board, there's only 1 airport that can be built each round. But yeah, other than that, the game plays really well. Though, like I said, there's a little difference in the value of certain spaces, but really well at every player count. Now, what about the 60 minutes? I really wish they gave a range. I hate it when they just give a static amount because the static amount can never be accurate.
I think because there's only 7 rounds.
Yeah.
It could probably be a little more accurate for this than other games where they just give 1.
It's not a bad estimate, and like I already said, the difference in the number of engineers does keep it from getting significantly longer at larger player counts. But I think they should have probably gave an estimate of like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I think would have been better.
Well, because I don't think we actually timed any games.
I don't know, so we're probably going off just how it felt, and it felt fun.
Yeah, 4 players didn't feel like it was too long, but I think that's also because, you have a set number of rounds.
And everybody
so it's
also
never gonna go for too long.
Well, but also everybody's the turns are really quick. Everybody's always involved and without bidding each other, and also. And I think that's kind of more important than how actually long it is that it doesn't overstay its welcome. Everybody always is involved and everybody is having fun. Nobody disliked it when we played it at 4 players. So, all right, so let's have a quick look at what comes in the box. So the first thing I want to draw attention to, there's only 1 die that you will roll, and you only roll it once per round, but they did design the inside of the box top to be used as a nice dice tray, which is really cool. I do like that Funko Games does this with a lot of their games. It's not necessary, but it's pretty. Next, we have the board. I'm going to pass this to Lynn to open up while I pull out the rule book. Now, the rule book is very well done. So it is a total of 15 pages. It is full color with lots of illustrations and diagrams. And I would say that the rule book is excellent with lots of asides giving you examples on how to do all the different things. I did not find it confusing at all. No issues with the rule whatsoever. I would give this a absolutely huge thumbs up on the rules. Really well done. Here we can see the board. Now the board is it's a little odd because it is a map of the world but done over the North Pole, and that's because of how many flight routes between the Americas and Europe pass over the North Pole as a shortcut. So it's kind of interesting in the way it's set up, but it is it's a little mild in its colors. It's not bright or attention getting, but it is a well done board and is very functional.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the classic map look of it, and a lot of the stuff in here is meant to evoke that sort of 50s era feel, which makes sense and is very thematic for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we've got a cardboard insert here. We have a lot of cardboard punch-out tokens for like things like money here, which if you've seen such cardboard punch-out tokens, you're familiar with how they are. We also have ones with the little Pan Am symbols on them and a cardboard punch-out first player token there. And then we have plastic pieces, which you're going to see a lot of these out on the board, of planes, engineers, and airports, which the airport plastic pieces are done as little towers, control towers. And they are in 4 colors. We have gray, we have yellow, we have like a maroon red here, and we have green, and I'm going to show you what these look like while I pass in the box to pull out some more things there. But we've got all these different things are done. They're very cool looking. So one, we've got things like, for instance, this is the control tower I was talking about for the airports. These are really cool. They look really nice on the board. I like them a lot. The planes are done with different numbers of notches on the wings, but they're also different sizes. So you can easily tell at a glance what level plane you are looking at. I'm going to just put each of the 4 level planes on my hand, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. Each of these planes is significantly different in size. So here is the smallest plane, the tri-motor. It has a single notch on each wing to show that it is, in fact, a level 1 plane. Then we have the Clipper, which is the level 2 plane. Then we have the Cruiser, which is the level 3 plane. And we have the Jet, which is the level 4 plane. These are really cool looking. They're really decent hard plastic miniatures, really, for this game, and probably one of my favorite bits of the game. What do you got there?
Oh, I got the destination cards.
Why don't you show some cards up there, so what they look like?
So they're little. They're
this way, so we can get it right in front, so it'll focus on it. There we go.
There we go. So they're a little like retro travel poster looking.
I love the look of
cards.
these. Yeah, they do look like retro travel posters, and they're really cool. Those are really nice. We also have a custom die, which shows the symbols of different routes on different sides, and also has a side with the Pan Am symbol on it. And we have a little Pan Am stock ticker, and then we have some custom boards. These are player boards for each of the 4 players. That's basically it, except for, oh, I almost forgot. It comes with these 2 double trays. These are for keeping the different size planes in before they are purchased. So now we're going to head over. We're going to run you through a few rounds of this game, which are done as years. And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about how this game plays and feels, and we're going to rate it and review it. Okay, so here we are set up to play a game of Pan Am. I am on this side of the table over here, and I am playing this faction here called Grand Olympian Air, which has this kind of maroonish color. You can see some of my airports over there by the airport area. Lynn?
I am over here, and I am playing the yellow Aero Cosmopolitan.
And again, any yellow planes or airports you see out will be hers. Now, to set up the game, the first thing we do is we place out the board, and then we have to make the event deck. Now, the event deck is separated into cards that specifically say what round they are for. There's basically a deck for each round, 1 through 7. And what you have to do is you shuffle each of the round decks and create a deck that starts with round 1 and goes down through round 7, taking 1 card from each of the different round decks. Next, you have to shuffle the destination cards and deal out 4 destination cards into the destination area that can be bid on. The destination deck is placed on the board over here. After that, you have to shuffle up the directive card and place the directive deck out on the board over there. Then you have to place the cruiser and jet tiles over the cruiser and jet area over here on the board, because starting at the beginning of the game, these planes have not been invented yet. And later, in round 3, we remove the cruiser tile, and in round 6, we remove the jet tile, and then they will be available for bidding for purchase. For each individual board, we set up our own color board. We take our color planes, put them in the bins here next to the area where we buy them, and we just collect for our starting fleet 1 Clipper, which is a size 2 plane, and 2 Tri-Motors, which are size 1 planes. We collect a number of engineer tokens based on the player count. At 2 players, we get all 5, but the more players you have, the less tokens you get. And you get 1 cube that you start on your income at 0. You also place your 5 airports near the airport area over there. Let me point that to that. And you put your airports all above there, and then you're basically ready to go. Each player also collects $22, is dealt 1 random directive card that they keep hidden, and 2 destination cards, which they keep over by their play area and can be used during the game. For my starting destination cards, I got Bermuda and Mexico City.
I got Tokyo and Horta.
And that's it, and then we're ready to play. Now we're going to take you through a few rounds of this and show you how this goes. Each round is a year, and we're going to start off by dealing up the first card in the event deck.
So the event for round 1 is the Great Depression.
All right, so put it out in the current event so everybody can see it. What happens in the Great Depression?
Each player loses $2.
Oh, that kind of stinks. All right, so I'm going to dump my $2 back in the bank.
And the stock price is set to 3.
Now, the stock price, as you can see, was not actually on the board yet. It gets set when we draw the round 1 card. It can then be modified up or down or reset on future rounds. Now, the event, the Great Depression, caused us to lose the $2, and then later during the expansion phase, only a single die, as shown by that symbol there, will be rolled for Pan Am to expand, probably because this is a low-income era card, if you will. This is the first time I've actually seen this particular event. All right, so are we ready to move on past the event phase then?
Yep.
All right, so next we have the engineer phase. Now, during the engineer phase, we take turns placing our engineers out on the board. If in a previous round, which obviously this is the first round, so there is no previous round, but if in a previous round anyone had placed their engineers on the directives area, they get priority and from left to right get to be placed first. Once you're past them, we place our engineers one at a time in turn order. Since Lynn has the first player marker, why don't you point to that first player marker over there? Lynn will be placing her first engineer first. Lynn, where would you like to place your engineer?
I'm going to place it at the airport.
Bidding 3. So you're willing to spend 3 money on an airport. I would like to outbid you to 5 on the airport because I would really like an airport. Now, since I outbid Lynn on that space, she gets her engineer back and can still place it somewhere else or try to outbid me for the airport if she feels she's willing to spend $7 on getting an airport.
I'm going to put mine on the directive.
Okay, so that's going to give Lynn a jump on the next turn, like I said before, but it's also going to let her, when we get to the directives, draw an extra directive card, which is also incredibly useful. I'm going to bid 0 over here on the San Francisco card. I think that could be very useful to me.
I'm going to bid on Hong Kong.
Okay, so Lynn is also bidding 0 on Hong Kong as a no one. The destination cards always start with a bid of 0 if nobody wants to outbid you for the particular card. And in this case, it doesn't look like we're in much competition for where we're trying to go with our flight paths. So there's not going to be a lot of outbidding. I'm going to bid 2 on a Clipper here, which if I get this bid later, that means I will get another level 2 plane.
I'm going to bid 7 on an airport.
What? Oh! Now here's the thing. I can no longer afford to bid the 9 and outbid Lynn on that airport because I specifically have already bid 2 on the Clippers here, and because of it being the Great Depression, having lost some money, I only have $10 left to spend, so I can't afford both of those. So I'm not going to be outbidding Lynn on the airport. Lynn is getting the airport for this round. However, I do have plenty more engineers going, and there are lots of other things I could go for. So since I have lots of engineers going, I think I'd like to take some more destinations. Just looking at Bangkok and Port of Spain. Port of Spain is on a main travel path. You can tell them because they have the symbols on them versus being blank, whereas Bangkok is not on a main path. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the Port of Spain card and bid 0 on it.
I'm going to go to a route.
I am also going to go to a route. Now, routes do not require any bidding. As you can see, they are blank, so they are free to obtain.
I'm going to do the second route.
Oh, look, well, since you got the airport, you'll probably be able to. I'll also go for a second route. I think I can do it. I think I should be able to pull it off unless you do something tricksy on me. All right, so I believe that's all of our engineers. Am I correct?
Yes.
So now we're going to, having placed all of our engineers, we're going to go to the resolution phase. Now, during the resolution phase, we go through the resolution of the different areas in alphabetical order, starting with A, with airports over there. So, Lynn, you bid
7.
So Lynn gets to take back her engineer. She gives $7 to the bank, which is most of her funds at the moment. But then she gets to place an airport anywhere she wants on any particular port, anywhere, any city on the board. So Lynn is going to have to be careful here because she did plan 2 routes. She needs to place it somewhere she's going to be able to use to hopefully get the 2 routes going. Which airport did you want to build?
I'm going to build it on Lisbon.
Now, Lynn has Horta, and she was going for certain other cards here. I'm figuring she's probably going to do a trade-in to get some multiple routes. We'll have to see how that goes, and we're going to explain how that goes when we get to the routes area. But you need to get landing rights in both cities on either end of a route to buy that route. We'll show you that in a little bit. However, right now, Lynn has built an airport, which means her income goes up by 1 because that is an airport she owns. Every airport you own does increase your income by 1, which is pretty freaking awesome. All right, so now we're going to move to destinations. Now, destinations, I for free got to get San Francisco and Port of Spain. So I'm going to take my engineers back from there, and I'm going to take those 2 cards.
I got Hong Kong for 0.
And now the last card that was not taken, Bangkok, or any cards that are not taken, will get $1 placed on them that will be obtained by whatever player takes them in the future. And we deal out new cards to the areas. And we have Guam, Bathurst, and Belém. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It might be Belém. I'm not really sure. Then we move to C, which is the planes. Now, I'm the only one who bid on a plane, and I bid on a Clipper, so I take back my engineer from the Clippers. I also take a Clipper from the supply of my own color and place it in my fleet on my personal board, and that costs me 2, so I'm going to trade in my 5 and get 3 back from the bank. And then next, after planes, we go to D, which is routes. So now to explain routes, again, you must have landing rights in both cities to place a route. So let's show how some of the ways we get landing rights by doing some of them right now. So Lynn, you have your furthest to the left, so you get the first route you can place. Why don't you retrieve your engineer and tell us what route you're going to do?
So I have an airport in Lisbon.
Right there.
And I have the card for Horta.
And Horta is right there. So that is this route. That gives you landing rights to both ends of this route.
I'm going to place a little plane there.
So now that is free to do. You just need a plane that is at least of the level of the route. In the case of this route, this is a level 1 route. Lynn placed a level 1 plane, which is a tri-motor. The planes, you probably can't see it on camera, are marked with notches at the ends of their wings to tell you what level they are. Tri-motors are level 1, Clippers are level 2, Cruisers are level 3, and Jets are level 4. You can always use a larger plane on a smaller route. Now, this is one of the most basic ways to get landing rights to purchase a route, and that is an airport on one side and having the card on the other side. You do not have to give up that card. You just have it. It means you have landing rights for that particular city. Now, getting that route, Lynn will get to increase her income by 1 because it is a level 1 route. Okay, so now I am up next. And very similarly, but a little different, I'm going to explain how this one goes. I am going to claim the route of Mexico City to San Francisco, which is a level 2 route over here. Now, why I say it's a little differently is it's done this way because I have both landing right cards of San Francisco and Mexico City. So since I have those cards, I'm able to claim that route. I will retrieve my engineer from the board, and that is going to increase my income by 2 because it was a level 2 route. And again, similar to Lynn, I get to keep my cards. Just having the cards means I have landing rights for those cities.
Okay, so for my second route, I have the card for Tokyo.
So put that on the board to show. Okay.
I am going to be trading in the card for Hong Kong to get temporary landing rights in Wake over here.
So now the way this works is there are two ways to trade in cards to get temporary landing rights to an airport. You can either trade in one card from the same area you're trying to get landing rights in. In this case, Hong Kong has that green background and that palm tree there. Lynn is trading it in to get Wake, which is in the same region, the Asia Pacific route. And in doing that, she gets landing rights just for right now to be able to get the route, so she can place her plane on it, which she's doing right now. It is a level 2 route, and she will get to increase her income by 2, and then she has to discard the card she just used, which was Hong Kong, because she traded it in to be able to get those temporary landing rights. Now, the other way to do it is to trade in 2 cards of a single different region than you're trying to get, which we may show later in the tutorial if the opportunity comes up. But are you all done there, Lynn?
Yes.
Excellent. So for my last one, I'm going to take back my engineer here. And what I am planning to do is I'm planning to get the route from Mexico City to Havana. Now, I have the Mexico City card, but similar to Lynn's situation, I do not have the card for Havana. So I'm going to discard the card I have for Bermuda that is in the same region, which will get me temporary landing rights to Havana, and I will be able to place the new clipper I just bought on that route, which is another 2-point route, and that will bring me all the way up to 4 income, which is very, very good. And that will be it for me there. Now, finally, the last of the letters is E, which is directives. Lynn will get to draw a directive because she put one of her engineers on the spot. I did not put any on the spot. She can use that at any time when it is available for her to use. The directives all tell you specifically what phase they can be used during. But she will leave her engineer there because in year 2, Lynn will be able to go first in placing her engineer since she left it there and it is in the priority assignment area. Now, next, we're going to be doing the Pan Am phase, where we start with Pan Am's expansion. Now, Pan Am's expansion for the Great Depression card says 1 die roll. So then why don't you give the die a roll and let's see what we get. The die has one side that has the Pan Am symbol, which is a wild side, and every other side, like this one here, shows 2 different routes. Now, Pan Am starts in Miami over here, and out from Miami, the different routes, the different ways you can go, all have the different images that you see on the die. In this case, it has the dotted line and the toothed line. The dotted line is the South America route, and the toothed line is the Asia Pacific route that starts going towards Havana. So what we do is Pan Am buys the first routes in both of those directions. In this case, nobody owns either one yet. We just place a Pan Am symbol on either one. But the next time that the Asia Pacific route comes up, it's actually going to be one that I already own. And if Pan Am purchases it for me, I get my plane back, and they will give me money based on the size of the route. There's a cheat sheet over there. Lynn, point to the cheat sheet for me. The cheat sheet shows how much money they give you based on the size of the route. In this case, it is a 2-size route, which would give me $9 back from the bank, which would be pretty freaking awesome. So now that we have done the Pan Am expansion phase, we do the income phase where we're both at 4 income, which means we get $4 back from the bank. I'm going to trade 1 in and take a 5er.
I'm just going to take 4 singles.
Fair enough. Then we do the stock phase. Now, during the stock phase, we can buy Pan Am stock at its current value. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is the lowest value in any game I've ever played of this that I've ever seen. I've never actually seen it at value 3 yet.
Because it's the Great Depression.
Because it's the Great Depression, which means actually it's very easy to buy stock. But we go in turn order. Lynn, how much stock would you like to buy from Pan Am?
Oh boy, I could buy 2, but then I would only have $1.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is an interesting situation where we've spent a bunch of money, and then how much money would you like? I actually have more money than you because you outbid me on the plane, so I didn't actually need to spend too much.
Airport.
On the airport, excuse me. You're right, on the airport.
I think I am gonna buy. I'm gonna buy 2.
All right, and then you're going to be very low on cash for the next round, but you will start with 2 stock from Pan Am. So there are 1 and 5 stock certificates. Lynn's going to take 2 1s there. I am also going to buy 2. I'm going to put so pass me 2 1s as well, but that will leave me with a little more money. I have $6 going into year 2. All right, so let's see what our event is for year 2.
So round 2 is airmail contracts. Each player earns $4.
Oh, nice! We're going to have a little more money. This went back in the other direction. It also shows the increase of stock value, so that the stock will go up 1, so we're now at a value of 4, and there again will be only a single expansion later on in this round. We forgot to say at the end of the round, we pass on the first player marker to the next player, so I am actually the first player this round. However, as we go into the beginning of this round and start to be placing out our engineers, Lynn gets priority. Even though I'm the first player, she gets to place her engineer first because she placed an engineer in the directives area and they get priority choice. So Lynn, where would you like to place your first bid?
I'm going to bid on Guam.
Oh, well, makes sense. You're doing a lot of the Asian territories over there. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I'm going to bid on Bellum right there, or Balim, I'm not really sure. It's got the little symbol on the top.
Yeah.
That might be a longie. It might be Balim.
I am going to put myself on the Clipper.
So 2, you're going to do a 2 bid on the Clipper?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I am going to bid 3 on the airport. Would you put me on the airport over there for 3? Because I would really like to get an airport.
I'm going to do a route.
I am also going to bid for a route here. Not really a bid, mind you. Just place my engineer on the route.
I am going to do a directive.
I'm going to do a second route.
I'm going to bid on Bathurst.
I'm going to put a engineer in the directives area here because I think I would like to get some more directive cards and also get some priority for next round. Is that it for your engineers as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to move right into our resolution. So I get the airport this time, and at a bargain basement $3, which is much easier to do than previously. I'm going to place my airport on San Juan. Now, this is not a very useful airport. It only has 2 routes, one of which has already been bought by Pan Am. However, I have specific need of it. It will also increase my income by 1 because I've placed an airport on the board. Then we move on to the destinations where I have bid 0 on Balim, and I'm going to take that. And Lynn, you bid 0 on Guam and Bathurst. Again, we put a second dollar on Bangkok because nobody has wanted it for 2 rounds running. And we turn up New Delhi, Karachi, and San Juan. Boy, I wish I could have gotten that earlier. But now, actually, there might be more desire for Bangkok now because there's lots of other Asian destinations out there that people can fly to. Then we move on to the planes where Lynn has bid 2 for a Clipper. Here is your engineer back, and here is your Clipper. Then we move on to D, which is the routes. Lynn, you have the first route. Where did you want to place a route?
Okay, so my route that I'm going to do is I have the card for Guam, which is over here. I am going to discard the card for Tokyo to get temporary landing rights in Wake.
I believe that's the second time you've got temporary landing rights in Wake.
Yes.
And you're going to put your Clipper between Guam and Wake?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Good route.
2.
Yeah, 2 income. Very nice. I have the landing rights card to Port of Spain, and I already put an airport in San Juan. I'm going to place a tri-motor on that short route between Port of Spain and San Juan and retrieve my first engineer. And for my second engineer, I have the landing rights card to San Francisco, and I'm going to discard the one for Mexico City, since Mexico City now is no longer usable because both routes on either side of Mexico City, it only has 2 routes coming from it, have already been bought. I don't need this anymore, but I'm going to discard it to get landing rights in Seattle to place my other tri-motor in this little off route here between San Juan and San Fran. The 2 of those will up my income by 2, 1 each, because they're both 1 value routes. Finally, Lynn draws the first of the directive cards, and I draw the second of the directive cards. I'm going to immediately play the new directive card I have just drawn because it is specifically playable during the resolution phase directives card part of the resolution phase, and it is earn $1 for each route you have currently claimed. It is called advertise. Now the thing is, I currently have a full 4 routes that I have claimed, and it's very likely that Pan Am is about to purchase one or both of the routes here, and I will have less than 4, and it's actually rare to have that many, and to get $4 this early in the game is incredibly valuable. So I'm going to discard this card, and I will take $4 from the bank, which hopefully I'll be able to use to buy myself an extra stock in just a moment. So we're going to go back to the Pan Am phase, where we're going to do another Pan Am expansion. Now the current card, again, only shows a single die. There are cards that show as many as 3 dice, though, and some cards that tell you that before rolling dice, the Pan Am will expand in a specific direction. But let's see which routes Pan Am expands on now. Pan Am rolled the wild Pan Am symbol. Now, when they roll the Pan Am symbol, what happens is you get to choose which route to sell back to Pan Am. Now, there's a couple things about this. With choosing which route to sell back, you could choose one of your most valuable routes, but specifically also, it's the only way to sell back a route like this one here that doesn't have one of the patterns on it. That's just a blank line. So sometimes it's a good time to sell those routes. But we go in turn order, so I'm going to choose a route to sell back to Pan Am, and I'm actually going to choose the route from Havana to Mexico City. Even though it's along the main line, it does bring Pan Am closer to buying my San Fran to Mexico City route next, and also it gets me back a Clipper, which I can use in my fleet, and I'm totally out of planes right now, so getting a Clipper back is very valuable. So we put the Pan Am symbol there, and again, as per the cheat sheet, that gets me $9. So I'm going to give a 1 back to the bank and take 2 5s, and that is going to be the route that I sold to Pan Am.
I am going to sell this route to Pan Am because otherwise they would never buy it.
And it is a 2-value route, so it's quite worthwhile to sell.
So I also am going to put 1 back and get 2.
Very nice. So we each got our $9 from Pan Am. Then we're going to move on to the income phase. Now, before we move to the income phase, we do have to both reduce our current income by 2 because we just sold off 2 cost routes. That brings me down to 5 income.
I'm down at 4.
So I'm going to take a 5 from the bank, and Lynn is going to take 4. Then we move to the stock phase. Now, the current stock value is 4 from Pan Am. I go first this time on choosing how many to purchase. I'm a bit flush with cash because of the way this round went very well for me. So I'm going to give $20 to the bank since the stock is currently at 4 apiece, and I'm going to buy 5 shares of Pan Am stock, which is going to give me a big jump because the way you win the game is having the most stock.
I am going to buy 2 shares and get 2.
All right, so now that we have purchased our stock, we'd be moving on to the next round. So again, I would pass the first player token back to Lynn. Now, the one important different thing that would happen on the third round is we would remove the cruiser tile here, and cruisers would become available to bid on. Cruisers are level 3 planes, so you can use them for level 3 routes, like for instance New York to Seattle here, which is a level 3 route. They are much more valuable. They increase your income by 3, and when you sell them to Pan Am, you get a total of $12 from the bank for a level 3 route, so they're incredibly valuable. And of course, level 3 cruiser planes could still be used for level 2 or even level 1 routes if you just really needed to place them on the board there. Now, there are lots of other kinds of directive cards. I just wanted to show what other cards we had on our hands so we can explain what other sort of things you could do with them. I had one that at some point in the future I was going to be using, but it wasn't ready to be used yet. I had Destination Spot, which says earn $2 for each airport you have placed. Currently, I only had 1 airport placed. This is the sort of thing I would play later in the game after placing a lot more airports. There are even directive cards that let you place airports for cheaper in addition to if you even got the airport bid. So you could even place 2 airports in a single round. I would wait till I have quite a few more airports before playing this, but then this would give me a nice influx of cash later in the game.
I had one that I just got. That is when resolving your engineer in the route phase, you can claim an extra route of 1.
So that's really cool for claiming the extra route without even having to have put an engineer there. What else did you have
And then
here?
this was an end of game one where you get 1 stock at no cost.
Now that is a really good one to sneakily shoot ahead. You can have a few of those in your hand and just grab a couple extra stock, have everyone thinking you're not going to win, and then steal a win at the end of the game. And this is basically how you play a game of Pan Am. You go around, you do the worker placement, you do the abilities. You're mainly trying to do the route building with your worker placement by getting the destination cards, by placing airports, by discarding destination cards to be able to place your planes out. And most importantly, you want to place your planes in the route that Pan Am is expanding through, because eventually they will buy those routes from you, give you a lot of money, which you can then use to buy Pan Am stock. At the end of the game, the player who has the most stock in Pan Am wins. If there's a tie, the player with the most money breaks the tie. And there you have it. So now we're going to head back over. We're going to talk about how this game plays and feels, and we're going to rate it and review it. Okay, welcome back. That was how you play a game of Pan Am. So we ran you through a couple of years at a two-player game there. Got to show most of the mechanics of the game, and we did some outbidding. We built a lot of routes. We got to sell some of the routes to Pan Am, so you guys could see that. Yeah, that's kind of how it plays. There's a lot of variety between games because the cards are randomized for each turn, though they are done in an appropriate ramping up way, where you randomize which round one card, which round two card, 3 card, 4 card, 5 card, 6 card, and 7 card. And the further along you go, usually you get more cards that do things like 2 dice for expansion, or even 3 dice for expansion later in the game. All right, so again, this is a economic worker placement and route building game. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So let's start with some negatives. Do you have a negative you would like to call attention to for Pan Am?
My only negative is that when you put the plane on the little route number, like the plane covers the number.
It's pretty minor. It's a pretty minor thing.
It is, but it's like sometimes people forget to adjust their income, and then you have to like move the planes to see.
All right, that's pretty minor. That's pretty minor. My only negative, and this is super minor. This is actually probably less minor. This is probably even more minor than yours. Is I have difficulty figuring out how to fold the board up the way the board is. It's very confusing.
You fold it in half lengthwise first, and then you accordion it.
Okay. Yeah,
I think the reason they did it, it's weird, is because if you notice, it doesn't have any of the cuts inside.
Yeah.
So it's
such a minor gripe. It's such a minor thing. I don't really have. I'm grasping at straws here. This game is great. Obviously, spoiler alert, we're about to be raving about it. Okay, let's go to positives. Lynn, give us a positive for Pan Am.
I like that it almost feels it's very streamlined because you have a handful of things you can do, and you either can do them or you can't do them. Right. And there's no in between. There's no waffling. It's literally like I can do this
because I can afford it.
Yeah, or I can't.
And if you can't, you're like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to get an extra card.
Yeah.
Because that's free. Or I'm going to build a route because I have planes and that's free. Yeah, no, totally. My first big positive is I really like how seamlessly they merge the main mechanics here together. You've got worker placement. This is not like this is a new mechanic. Worker placement's been around for a while. And in fact, this is doing it in a kind of an older, more classic way, which has been kind of on the comeback lately. It's got route building and it's got economics and stock purchasing, but it puts them all together in a very seamless way. They all work really well together, and I like that a lot. Your turn.
I like that there's a certain number of rounds. Okay. I don't like games that like just can go on forever. So
it's 7 rounds and then you're done and you see who won.
Yeah.
Also, I like how it's this is a very easy game to teach, very easy to learn. Once I learned it, I've taught this game now to 3 different people. And everybody, it was very easy to teach it to them. Even to people who are not necessarily like, full-on gamers, it's very easy to teach. People can get into it. It doesn't even take a full game for people to really realize what's going on. Again, this is actually an easy one to pull out on like a game night where you have people who are new to gaming, or if you're gaming with family, like over, a holiday, and you can teach this to people who don't regularly play gamery games. It's very easy to learn and teach. Also, I do want to specifically draw attention to, I love the very nostalgic, 50s vibe that they went for here. Everything really feels, that kind of 50s aesthetic. They did a really good job of it. I love the way those cards for the destinations look like travel posters. Those are cool. The little plane miniatures look really cool. The map has this kind of faded look to it on the board. It's just got a really cool sort of feel to it, which you really do get from the box itself, because it looks, like the old Pan Am logo and everything. What they were going for, you totally get that. And the back also, as you can see. But yeah, they've done a really, really good job of putting across exactly what they were going for here. But overall, I mean, we had a lot of fun playing this game. We've played it a few times at different player counts. I like it best at 4 players.
I prefer it at 2. I feel like you get to do more.
Well, you do get more engineers at 2 players, that's true. But I feel like there's more outbidding each other the more players you have. And at 4 players, it becomes incredibly important to outbid for the airport, because there's only one airport that's getting built each round. And I love that. I love all the outbidding for the airport. I find that very enjoyable, and that's why I like it better at 4 players. Obviously, you must not value that as highly because you prefer it to.
No, I just like to do my own thing.
You like to be able to have, because at 4 players, you have 3 engineers each. At 2 players, you have 5 engineers each. Do you want to go first or second on the rating?
I'll go first.
So how many stars out of 10 are you going to give to Pan Am?
I'm going to give it 8. Because I do enjoy it. But it's not like, mind-blowing. It's not.
Why are you phrasing it like that after you gave it a super high rating like an 8?
How is it super high?
8 is very high. 6 is okay. 7 is like it a lot. 8 is like love it. 9 is it's amazing, and 10 is like it's the best game ever. So 8 is a very high rating.
It's not the best game ever.
Okay.
But I enjoy it.
But you enjoy it quite a bit.
Yes.
Okay. You're such a hipster. You're always downplaying when you give things high ratings.
It's not high.
It is high. 8 is very high. Anything 8 and up is very high. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think I liked it a little better than you. I really like how all of the mechanics in here work, and I really like how they fit together. The nostalgic presentation is also really cool, but it's much more about the mechanics and just the fun factor of this game for me, because this game is just super fun and also super easy to teach and easy to play. And I really enjoy it a lot, hence 8.5 stars. So there you have it. Those are our ratings for Pan Am. This is a 2 thumbs way up review from us here at the Board Game Captain. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns either on the game of Pan Am or this video, feel free to put them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review and tutorial and you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on. Are we having a puppy blooper? Are we having a puppy blooper? Puppy blooper going on here. You puppy bloopered your mom instead. Oh, why do you always go for the mic? Why are you going for the mic? You are not. Do you want to chew on the mic? What are you doing? That's my hand. Can I? What do you? That was my phone. My phone made a noise. He's like, I don't trust it. It made nope. You cannot have the mic. He seemed to think the mic made the noise. All right, you go play with your snake. Okay, go play with your snake. Your snake toy is right behind you. Oh, a second puppy blooper. My goodness, you were in rare form. You can still not have the microphone. No, you can't. No, you can't. You're so silly. You're so silly. Oh, that's my finger. You chewing on my finger? I'm not a chew toy. No, I'm not a chew toy. No, you cannot have my finger to chew on. What are you doing? He's put his paws on the table. I'm being thoroughly chewed on and licked here. Oh, he's like, I'm going to chew on that finger. Oh my God, I'm attacked by a vicious pupper. Vicious pupper. Vicious pupper. Okay, you need to go back on the floor.